everyone, this is Honey, and on today's episode of Making Changes, we have Rene Rodriguez, also known as the Poet King. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, where did you grow up, first of all?
Hey, what's going on? Thank you for having me on your show. It's an honor. I was born and raised in Boyle Heights. For the most part, my first part of, I want to say till we were about 5. And then when we were 5, of course, they were doing the whole remodel of the projects, stuff like that. We moved to West LA. I think that's when I went to go live with my grandma. Mm-hmm. Moms and pops, were old school heroin addicts. I mean, why deny it, right? That's what they were. Pops was in and out of prison. They were both from the same neighborhood, from Clanton 14. Basically my whole family was, except for the youngest uncle. Mm-hmm. And funny story is how I ended up with my grandma. My other grandmother, my dad's mom, was taking care of me because my mom, I guess, one day had really got, zoned out on the shit. And then my grandma ended up showing up to the house, and my grandma got me. Said that I wasn't like a pamper that was like probably shitted on. God knows for how many days. Moms were just so strung out that she didn't even know that people were there. I guess I hadn't eaten for a couple of days or whatever, and my grandma Abuela took me. Mm-hmm. And bathed me, clean, took me to the doctor. The doctors were ready to lock her up, thinking that she was the one who was doing all this. I guess finally when my mom and dad came out of it, my mom figured I wasn't there no more, and that's when my dad también, who was out, just came off of I guess on their bender or whatever you want to call it, and he went and grabbed me from my grandma Abuela, his mom, mm-hmm. and took me to my grandma Ita, who's my mom's mom, and said, "Toma, I want a different life for him. I don't want him to be."
So was that because being with your other grandma was going to be bad for you? It would
have been mad, real worse. It would have been one of those situations where that side of the family were known just to be trouble. Yeah. Either all the kids were either going to be gangsters for life and in and out of prison and that type of lifestyle, or helping, because my grandma used to slang dope también, so my grandma was slanging, so it would have been one of those situations. Yeah. Lo and behold, I still ended up going that route no matter what. But with my grandma Ita, I got a different side of what reality is when it comes to being able to, I guess, figure out what right from wrong is. Yeah. My grandma was very religious. Of course, natural. It's almost Hispanos, right? We grow up Catholic 100%. That's how it goes, in and out of church, in and out of mass and all that, So it was always about the church. And that's how it went down.
So you did First Communion and all that?
I did all that. My confirmation. Yeah, like I said, I dabbled with that gangster lifestyle, but I also knew how to be like the, the other side of being Hispanic, the religious side, right? Yeah. Fast forwarding to my teens, I got locked up when I was 6 years old for armed robbery. He had 59 counts of armed robbery. Holy shit. And 1 count of kidnapping. Well, apparently the story is that he moved some chick that he was dating at the time from one room to the other, and that turned into kidnapping. But he had, you can imagine 59 counts of armed robbery, like shit. Like what? Yeah. Back in them days, robbing banks was a thing. That was a thing to do. So that's what they did. And I never had a father. I had, through letters, I had someone telling me what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing. When I would go visit and stuff like that, and I think I was around, I want to say I was like 11 years old. Finally got to go see him. I never got to see my dad. When you go to prison and you get to see somebody on a table and you get to hug her once. My dad was always high power, so he was always behind the glass. I never got to see my dad in a table or a setting where you get to touch him or hold him like that. Ni madre. I was behind glass, and I remember him saying one time, he's like, "No me quiero ver en el espejo. I don't want to see myself in the mirror." And when you're young, you don't really think about that. You're like, what the fuck is he talking about? Yeah. I looked at my grandma, like, what the hell is he telling me?
He's like, so don't look in the mirror.
That's what I was thinking, back then. And as you get older, you start realizing, like, damn, that made a lot of fucking sense. He didn't want to see me going that same route of being like him, and he died when I was 15. Obviously, that had a huge impact in my life. And I was already troubled and being in the streets. You know, I was at that time. I remember my uncle Oscar Littleman from Pimela Flats thought it'd be funny one day. Picks me up, takes me to the neighborhood, 23rd Street, where he was from the west side. Come on, mijo, let's go. You're gonna come with me, you know, blah blah blah. And I'm riding with him. I'm thinking I'm cool. I'm in his fucking. Back then he had a Blazer all switched up and Danes and music, and I'm thinking I'm the shit, you know, little chavala just roaming around with you still, thinking he's gangster and shit. And I remember him dropping me off at the PJs. And it was funny because around the corner I just see my primo and all the homies come in, and I'm just like, oh shit. And I kind of knew it. I'm like, fuck, something's gonna go down, you know, like I knew something was up. And my tío just standing there, he's like, all right, Mio, it's time for you to be, you know, be from the neighborhood. And I was just like, shit. You know, like, what am I gonna do? You had
no choice.
Basically, no choice, you know. It was, I remember I used to say I was gonna be from Clanton, because, you know, my jefita were from Clanton. That's what I used to say. And I remember my older cousin Andy was from the neighborhood from Clanton, and I wanted to be like him. You know, he was, that time, you know, he was really in the streets, he was known, and unfortunately, that was another person who passed away in my life, and I was there when he passed away. You know,
gang violence, or
there was gang violence. Another neighborhood came by. I seen my primo get killed in front of me. When the gun was supposed to go off on me, it was one of those little 380s. They had a name for one of those 380s. It would jam a lot. That was jamming, known for jamming. Well, for whatever reason, jammed on me, and they cracked me in the head with the gun. I had this dent on my head, you know, that's there. I'm gonna have it for life, you know. They thought I was dead. As much blood that came out. I was in a coma. By the time I woke up, you know, I had learned my primo had passed away. That he was, you know, he was killed. I saw it happen, but I didn't think, you know, you don't know what happens when you're in the mix of things. You see the gun go off, you know, maybe someone could live or not live. You know, at that point I was like still in shock, you know, just like fuck, you know. And
how long were you in a coma for?
About 2 weeks, I think. That's what it was.
Sure.
So I was in a coma for about 2 weeks, and then it's one of those things where, you know, you have these things as you're growing up. You know, you got your family who's either locked up or they're known dope pushers and stuff like that, you know. And in the neighborhood, they were known. You know, everybody knew not to fuck with our family in the calles and shit like that from the neighborhood. And my grandma was slanging, you know, heroin. I remember we used to, as little kids, we'd hold the balloons for her, and she'd tell us, go give the red balloon to that guy, or, you know, she'd get the money, and we'd hand out the mercancía, you know. And, you know, it was that lifestyle, it was that life, you know. It's what I knew, and I would spend summers or when I could with my grandma Huera, but I lived with my grandmaita, and, you know, and it was a trip, you know. My grandfather was a World War II veteran, and his motto was, you know, he went to work when he was fucking 5 years old. He helped take care of his mom and his brother. Your
grandpa from which side?
My mom's side.
Okay.
I didn't know I had a grandpa from my dad's side. I barely met him when I turned shit. I want to say like 28, 29. I had barely met him.
Oh.
So I didn't know I had a grandfather on the other side, you know, and because I just knew my grandma Huera was like the strong lady that came here from Mexico with 4 kids and tried to do her best. And, you know, what did she know back then? All she knew was fucking, you know, how to hustle, and that was her hustle, was slanging dope. You know, she got into that dope game because her kids were running the calles and, you know, pushing the neighborhood and stuff like that.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I've got one brother. I've got a lot of stepbrothers and stepsisters. My mom had remarried. Well, she never married my jefito, but she got married to a man by the name of Francisco Sigueda. He was a huge dope pusher in the neighborhood también. You know, he was known in the calles, and in Tijuana he was pretty known too. So with him, he had kids out the woodworks, but the ones that I kind of grew up with was like my stepbrother Frankie, my stepsister Yvette and Blanca, and my stepbrother Adrian. You know, though I was close with them. Because, you know, there were times when my mom would like be sober and she would come and pick us up here and there. But, you know, my mom did dope until I turned, I want to say, she turned 48 when she stopped doing drugs finally. And by the time she cleaned herself up, I remember having her 50th birthday, and when my mom turned 52, she passed away.
Natural death or?
Complications de la droga. You know, from years of using heroin, her body just
Yeah.
You know, she had pulmonary fibrosis from smoking those Marlboro 100s. You know, long ass cigarettes and shit. They stay lit for days. She's,
That's true.
You know, I remember my mom would be zoning out. She'd be fucking cigarette in her mouth and she'd be trying to drive and she'd be trying to, you know, when you have the steering wheel, trying to look between the steering wheel. You know, and that was my jefita, you know, like high as fuck, you know. I remember seeing her slam up and then she'd be trying to drive us home or something, you know. And
all that was normal to you.
That was normal. That was life, you know. Like drugs were life, you know. Like what did I know? Shit. Yeah.
How do you think that affected you?
Hey, you know, got me teared up and shit.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You know, normal wise, it wasn't. As you get older, you start to realize what affects you and what doesn't affect you. I think why I'm talking about it now, willing to talk about it now, is because it was, you know, traumatic.
Yeah.
It had me, shit, how do you say it? Like, had me feeling some kind of way sometimes about women.
Yeah.
You know, not my trust issues, I think, have a lot to do with that. I didn't know what being raised by parents was.
Yeah.
Here I am. I got friends and family who have their mom and dad, and they're acting like fools. And here I am, like, what the fuck? You guys are acting how? And everybody probably went to the same little story. You know, everybody probably went through that same little bit that, pues esto es esto, and that's the way it's supposed to be, or, you know. But I think at the end of the day, it either makes you or breaks you.
True.
You know, and for whatever reason, I'm still here. You know, I think I've gone through more obstacles than I probably want to count. At times, I think I've gone through more situations that I ever wanted to be in.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I'm like always gravitating towards that pedo or the drama or something. And it's like, how the fuck did I get myself here? I should know better than this. You know, this is not what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I think for a long time, I never fucked around. I never touched anything. I remember, you know, as a teenager, I smoked a joint here. Probably tried to P-dog with the homies here. I never fucked with the heavy shit. I remember one time I was in the neighborhood, and all the homies were right there smoking a fucking frio, right? The shit that's dipped in the, whatever you call that shit, sherm stick.
Oh, sherm stick.
Right? I remember I was watching everybody just fucking hit this motherfucker, and I'm like in the line, I'm watching all the big OGs, and I'm just seeing, boom, one by one, they're fucking falling on their face. I'm like, what the fuck is that shit? It's like embalming fluid mixed with some other shit, and I'm like watching, like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, what, you know, and I see the homies over here getting cracked out.
You're like, my turn.
I'm like, yeah, I'm cool with this. I went over here, like, fuck this, you know? And I remember that day, I thought about it. I remember seeing my mom shoot up at that moment, and I just like, you know, I ain't fucking with none of this shit. I grabbed a spray can, and I went to the street. I remember I just started hitting up, and that was my thing. I used to love fucking being able to write on the walls and shit like that, you know?
That was your escape?
That was my escape. Like, to run away from the neighborhood or run away from my reality, it was like, I would go and cause some chaos on the wall. And, you know, like, I put the lines together, the colors together, and like, oh, shit, I'm pretty good at this. You know, I can do this. And then, you know, as a youngster, you know, you want to please the homies. You want to please people. Because you think that's what you're supposed to do.
Because you think it's because when you were growing up, you didn't really have that from your parents?
Yeah, that one. I think that's why I did a lot of what I did, because I was looking for that, like, the recognition of what you're doing, and why people want you around or something like that. Like, I was always looking for that, you know, that. And then, like, Grandma loved me to death. My grandma, she did everything for us. I think she shielded us, or thought she was shielding us, but I saw everything. I was very observant. You know, I wasn't stupid. I saw what was going on in the calles and you know what people were doing. And you know, as I started getting older, I started realizing this is not what I want. Mm-hmm. I remember I turned 15. It was my 15th birthday. I'll never forget this. I got locked up. I got caught. I was on a mission to try to make a name for myself, and I remember I got caught right in the fucking wall. And at the time, I got busted. I had, I don't know, probably like 2 ounces of fucking heroin that I forgot that were in my backpack. For my grandma. I was carrying it for my grandma.
Shit.
So I got busted, and then they were going to take me to juvie. I remember I got to juvie, and my grandma got there, and she picked me up, and like, no, he's not going to do that. And all right, well, they let me go home. But, you know, when you go to court y todo, the court assigned some program. Back then they called it the CLAP program. They used to take troubled kids and they'd make them see an autopsy at the coroner's office. At that time, it was actually before the coroners moved to where they're at now. And I went in there, and my dad had just passed away, and it was like one of those situations where it was like, oh, this, they're telling you this is how they find out how people die, how they do investigations, and I'm just like, okay, maybe I get some answers, because I never got the truth about how my dad died. And that's kind of like where I was like, wow. I seen the guy cut up the bodies. I see him, weighing the organs, and I'm just like right there, like all up in it, like, wow, this is dope, like this is cool. Everybody else is sick in the corner, everyone else is throwing up, and I'm just like, chingados, fuck, that's what you do? Why are you weighing that? Like, why? I'm asking questions.
Yeah.
I remember the doctor at the time, he's like, do you want to help? I said, I'm down to help you, fuck yeah. So at that time, I'm like, okay, cool. So he puts me in all the gear. He gives me a face mask, gives me gloves, gives me a mask so I don't smell as much. And I'm like standing there holding the heart in my hand. I'm there standing there holding the liver, and he tells me to weigh it. And then, he's showing me how to cut and digest it. And I'm just like, damn, this is dope. And he's taking notes, and he's putting all this stuff down, and he's taking, samples, and he puts them on little plates. And I'm just like, why are you doing that? He goes, so they can look under the microscopes, and they can see the cells. They can count how much, of when they do toxicity reporting and stuff like that. I'm just like, oh, wow, okay. So he starts, he broke it down, and then I was just like intrigued. So he kind of took me on as a mentor. And he's like, so how are you doing in school? And I was just like, I don't go to school. I'm fucking ditching all the time. Like, fuck school, And he's like, no. He goes, you got to go to school. You got to get this much, He's trying to help me. Yeah. Because he knows that I don't have that real male role model figure. Because I'd never had that with many of my uncles or anything, All they would ever do was like push me to fucking be gangbanging or push me to be a dope slanger. Or my mom's side of the family, her brothers would be like, fuck you. You're a fucking Rodriguez. You're just going to end up like your dad and shit in prison or something like that, And, it's traumatic. But it's what you got to deal with on a daily basis, And it's just a funny way of how I realized what I wanted to do in my life. And at that point, he was like, well, you're kind of struggling. He goes, you're going to have a hard time. He goes, start looking into maybe joining the military. I'm like, okay. Sounds, I don't know. Do I want to do that? But then I remember my grandpa, my grandpa was in World War II, and, it had changed his life, he said, and all right, I joined up. Joined when I was 17. For reasons that I can't talk about it because of the Military Act. I can't tell you guys what I did or what I was doing inside there. I can just say I went through a lot of shit in there. Stuff that probably no one person should see sometimes. Stuff that is hard to talk about still to this day, certain times. There's moments where I want to just fucking blur it all out, but then I remember because of what I want to do as I get older and get that money, I can't do that. So kind of hard, but it's something that I would do it again if I had to. That's the truth. Coming home, when I came home after my last tour duty, which
How
was
long were you?
I did a total of 10.
Okay. That's a lot.
I was trying to go full. That was my goal, was to go full, but didn't happen. For reasons unknown, I got hit, got wounded, wasn't gonna happen. Long story short, I come home, last tour of duty, I was done about 2001. I remember I was still active in the books, but when it came down to it, I couldn't go on any more missions. So it's kind of like they were trying to put me on a desk, and I was like, nah, chale. Yeah. Like, no, that's not me. And then it turned into one of those situations where it's like, I was lost. I came home kind of fucked up. You come home.
PTSD?
That plus, you come home to a woman who you thought was your woman, and you catch her in bed with some other guy. Yeah, that's gonna fuck anybody up, right? Oh, yeah. It's really gonna affect somebody on how they think or believe. And then I've already had trust issues, mind you, with women because of what my mom always did. But I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna be, and shit like that went down. And I want to say, again, I put myself in these situations because I thought I had chosen something I was happy with, and
But it's not necessarily you putting yourself in the situation. It's unfortunately the piece of shit person that you were with. That.
You know, yeah, she's the mom of my child, right?
Sorry.
Supposedly you're supposed to give respect to that, right? But nah.
Yeah, well.
You know, it's one of those situations. So I think that led me to just kind of, I was being a vago at that time. I just didn't care, you know. I was going through women like left and right. Well,
especially because when things like that happen, you tend to just be like, well, I'm going to hurt people before they hurt me.
Thank you.
I'm going to leave them before they leave me.
And that's the truth. And that's what I did, you know. And you know, I tried my best to try to be single. You know, it's hard sometimes. And then you meet new people and then that's how it goes, you know. And I remember at the time I was literally homeless. I was homeless. I had nowhere to go. And I made the mistake of going to moving in with my uncle. That was like a fucking the worst thing I ever did, was because he had spent his whole adolescent life in prison.
Yeah.
So he didn't know what the world was like, you know. He comes out and he's like, ooh, he was still in and out, dabbling with that lifestyle. Then he realized, fuck, I need to get my shit straight. And he started partying and he was loving going to the spots, you know, the clubs, and he was doing all that. And then it turned into one of those situations where I would come home from work. I remember I was working at the mortuary still, and I was trying to get back into the LA County Coroner's office to get a job there, and it was hard. It was hard because of my past and what I had gone through. No one really wanted to hire me because I had this problem, you know, where I was being morbid. I was very like self-protecting myself, but destroying myself también.
Yeah.
Where it was like I was always constantly talking shit to somebody or constantly doing this or that, and it wasn't the right thing. I was questioning authority more than anything. And that's not a good thing when you're trying to be, you know, investigator or something like that. So no one's going to want to hire you at that point. So I was in between jobs. I was just like, fuck this. I don't want to do nothing. I want to be a fucking pendejo in the rest of the life. To hell with it. I'm destined to fucking die no matter what, right? That's why I was thinking that back then. And I met somebody and it was going good. But then, you know, shit happened with her, and then I fucking ended up going back to my old ways of doing things. And, you know, as you get in certain situations, you try to find a way out of it. You try to find your niche, but then you realize that you're just making mistakes left and right. And mind you, I had always been this artist. I'd always been this person trying to create something differently than what people were doing. And I would always think like, man, you know, I can do this. I can really do this. And then I started getting my shit together, and it's funny how the death of somebody really brings out people, and you don't realize who's really in your corner.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's like at that point you start to realize who you can trust, who you can't trust. And I think when I had lost my stepbrother Adrian, my mom was still alive. I remember my mom was telling me we gotta go to the funeral. And I was like, why? I don't keep in touch with them. You know, like I don't need to go. And like, no, you need to go. And my prima at the time, she's like, come on, you need to go. That was your stepbrother, you know, the little stepbrother. And I was like, all right, fuck it. So I go and I run into a cousin, which you know who he is, Raul. You know, it's funny how you run into people. And at the time we were having a conversation, I remember it was, oh yeah, he's not working. He needs a fucking job. He needs to get back on his shit, you know, back on his feet. And I was doing really bad. I'm not gonna lie. I was really lost at the time, and I didn't know what was going on with me. And I was making mistake after mistake after mistake, you know. And that's the truth. That is what I was doing. I kind of like took life for granted.
Yeah.
And then I realized, all right, I need to make money to survive in this fucking world. Raul offered me a job, and lo and behold, I got into the trades in the refineries, and it was funny how that just worked out. You know how that goes down. And with my education, because I was going to school during the time I was in the military, also on my leaves here and there, and I was, you know, I got my doctorate. I got 2 BAs in abnormal psychology and criminal abnormal psychology, and a BA in child abnormal psychology. So at this point, I'm like trying to do, you know, what I was destined to do, but I was just so bad at making the right choices. I was like, man.
Did you ever stop to think, kid from the hood, everything that you went through, and you still got all those titles under your belt? Like, you should be proud of yourself, like, for real.
You know, it was one thing to be proud, but it was another thing because no one ever believed in you. No one ever gave you that recognition that you did something right.
It hurts, huh?
Yeah, like, hey,
I know the feeling.
toma, like,
Yeah,
toma, like,
yeah.
oh, you have something cool. What are you gonna do with it? You're gonna fuck it up. That's what I would hear. And when you hear those words, it's like really, like, you know, and then there's no one really there standing there behind you to support or push you to to make that outcome better.
Yeah.
It was like, eh. So at that point in my life, I'm just like, why do I want to talk about it? Why do I want to let people know what I have? I'll let them judge me because people are so quick to judge me.
Yeah.
Because apparently I show my ghetto side more than I show my reality side of who I truly am, you know?
You're a little bougie, not ghetto. Just kidding.
You know, and I think it's a funny thing is because people, if they would really stop to talk to me and get to know me, they would like, oh shit, like damn, okay. But I think for the most part, you know, people don't do that. And a lot of people look at me because I'm a clown or I crack jokes. I'll be honest with you, I crack jokes because I'm nervous as fucking hell. Or I think I'm trying to be funny because I'm scared. I'm scared to be that solid person because sometimes it's like, well, shit, you know, I'm a soft guy at heart. I'm a big ass fucking teddy bear, más bien dicho, ¿verdad? Like, I am a chillon. I'll fucking cry when shit hits the fan, like, because it hurts.
Yeah.
But it's reminding me of why I did what I did half the time. Why there were times where, you know, I remember, man, I'm thankful for every time my grandma came and picked me up from the police station. Like, chingao. Like, I'm pretty sure I'd be that travieso like a motherfucker, you know, peor que la nada. And it's like, here I am. I'm going to turn 48 this year. I've realized a lot of things in my life.
48?
Fuck, yeah, 48.
I thought you were younger.
So did I.
At least you don't look 48.
It's, you know, it's all the drinking. It helps. I think I've learned the most valuable life lesson that you can ever learn is that people, no matter what, are gonna talk shit. People, no matter what, are gonna kick you when you're trying to crawl to get to a destination, and they don't realize that you're crawling for a reason because you constantly stay down. And some people don't get that opportunity to be able to rise back up.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I've risen back up to so many times and so many occasions when it's necessary that people don't give me that credit still to this day.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, I'm grateful and blessed. Like I said, you know, let's fast forward. I've always tried to figure out who I am or what I am. And I've picked up cameras throughout my entire life. I've always either had a camera or I remember stealing a camera one time from school. And I kept the motherfucker. I had it for a long time. And I would take pictures, and I would always take pictures of like the graffiti, the homies writing on the walls, or like the homies in the neighborhood and shit like that. I've been doing that for over 20 years, and I've never made it public till now because during the pandemic, of course, like everyone, they try to find something to do to keep them occupied. And I would always hear, oh man, that's a dope picture. Why don't you share it? Why don't you show this? Why don't you show that? And I don't really want to see my shit. I don't want to see my pictures. Like, what the fuck for? That's why I'm so humble when I take pictures. That's why I'm so humble when it comes down to my arte. And I think people don't get it is I do it from the heart.
Yeah.
I do it from here. I don't do it because I have that camera in my hand. I do it from here. I see something or I want to do something or I want to create something. Like you've been a part of a lot of my shoots here and there. You know what it's about. You know that that's what I love to do. And I love creating some kind of piece of art so someone has that memory to live on with. And I do that because there were so many times that I wish I would have those pictures still to this day and have those memories. Because you know, there are memories that you go through and it's like, fuck, all right.
You're known for catching those angles that a lot of people don't. You're known for a specific kind. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
I wouldn't say specific. I think I just love to take a picture. And yeah, I do get angles that some people won't grab because it's not, there are laws in photography. I'm learning. It's an everyday learn, right? You learn something new every damn day. And I think I'm creating outside the box because I like that. I like to be that rebel or that clown, like some people think that I am. When it comes to creating my arte, I am just a overall photographer that just loves to take something different. You know, whether you call me a street photographer, photojournalism photographer, reality photographer, I don't think I'm none of that because I didn't study for none of that stuff. I think when I was in high school, I took half a semester and I stole the camera and I got kicked out of that school. So that was it. So, I mean, what do I know about taking pictures? I know that there's certain images that would look dope as hell. And sometimes I find myself looking at somebody's picture and I'm like, I would have done it this way, I would have done it that way. But that's where you're learning, is you're learning that when they take their picture, what are you really going for?
Yeah.
And if you see, I love to have aesthetics in the background. I'll take a mural in the back and we'll make sure it happens or something. Or we'll paint your face or we'll do something different. Anybody could take a picture with a woman in a bikini, right? Like everybody could do that. Oh, cool. All right.
Or a car.
Or a car. Cool. All right, cool. But does it really stand out? That's where I want to come in. Is I want to take pictures, that really stand out. Like I got to shoot, and her name is Ashley, real one Ash. She was going through some domestic violence problems, and she came to me with an idea, and I'm just like, let's do it. Hell yeah, I'm in. Like, fuck this, I'm in. Yeah. Like, don't say no more. Then I was like trying to incorporate like with some graffiti or something to really talk about the story, and that's when we came up with the idea of writing the words that she had been called so many times by the guy that she thought was serious with her and had a kid with. And
shout out to Ash.
Yeah, shout out to her. And she gave me that opportunity to shoot that, and it was dope. And I love to do things like that. Yeah. And I mean, we took, there were parts of her that were, visible and shit like that. But if you really look at the picture on it, there's words there that mean something, and the shadows and why we shot it in black and white and why we shot with dark silhouettes was to say that she's breaking free from that dark part of her life and coming into the light of what's supposed to be done to make sure that she doesn't fall into that same trap. And I think that's why a lot of people want to do what they do sometimes, Do
you think that shooting is some form of therapy for you?
It is at sometimes. It's also stressful sometimes because sometimes
all the time.
And why I say it's stressful for me is because I'm not the best photographer in the world. I'm not. And sometimes I feel like I got to live up to this expectation of I got to get this shit done dope, And then people are so quick to like, hey, you got the picture, they don't realize that it takes time.
Well, aside from the fact that you still have the rest of your life to live, and they did really do, like, I think I sent you, I'm not sure if I sent you or Cindy sent it to me, or we sent it to someone, but it was sent. And it was like a photographer comes in and it's like what people expect you to do, and then you're running, throwing your wife to the side and getting on the computer.
I thought I was the only one that would like go and hide and start editing. And I heard Cece told us one time about her and Guap, that Guap comes home and Guap starts to put the videos together and he starts editing. And when he gets into editing, he just wants to be left alone, which. Yeah, because he's focusing on what he's doing. And sometimes I get like that también, where I just want to be in that room, cerrado, and I have either the TV playing or music playing or something, and it's like I just want to be left alone because I want to get this image done. But and you're right. I do have the rest of my life to live. Time. Exactly. I got a woman that I have to as well to make sure that she's happy. So it's
happy wife.
So it's one of those situations where like I try my best. And I keep doing what I do, and I'm grateful and blessed. I always say I'm blessed. I get to work with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I get to work with a lot of people. I've been blessed to be able to meet a lot of people and network. And I guess because people trust me, because I come with this character, I guess. I've worked with quite a few known artists. I've worked with quite a few people that are huge, and it's lucky.
Tell us who.
I'm very proud that I got to shoot with Mellow Man Ace and Dana, the legendary Dana Dane. I mean, let's get this right. An East Coast legend like Dana Dane, if you don't know who he is, I mean, shit, then you don't know hip hop, you don't know rap music. And him and Mellow Man Ace, come on, the godfather of Latino rap, right? That's the truth. He is one of the godfathers of Latino rap. And it's funny, I got the phone call that day from Mellow Man direct. Hey, what are you doing? Meet me here at the radio station. We're gonna do some videos. I'm shooting my video shoot, and I'm like, oh shit.
How did you guys link up?
I met him at the time. I was helping out on JR and the Crew, and they were interviewing him. I don't know how they got him on the show, or who he knew, or how it went down. But he was on the show, and I took a picture of him, and he had his bottle of wine, and he was kind of like just posted up on the sofa. And I took a picture that he fell in love with right away, because I shot it over to him. He gave me his email address. I sent it to him, and he's like, "Oh shit, that's fucking fire." And it just went from there. He, me and him kind of did things. He had hit me up one time to do the show at Steven's Steakhouse. It was a 3-day show. He's like, I need you for all 3 days. How much are you gonna charge me? In the back of my head, I'm like, oh fuck, I never really charged anybody for shit like this. I'm just excited that he's calling me to do this. I'm like, yo, just pay me what you want to pay me. I said, and I undersold myself at that point, right? Come on, again, I don't do this for fortune or fame. And it was just one of those things where it was like, okay, here I am now, and I'm got myself into it. I gotta commit, right? And it was fun. And since then, he's always, hey, what are you doing? I got this going on, all right? I got that going on. And I know sometimes, like do it, don't charge me or something like that. Okay, no problem, I won't charge, because it's fun. Plus, I get to get in for free and VIP all access, esto. All right, cool. I'm not just gonna shoot him. I'm gonna shoot everybody else that's roaming around. So, it's been a very good for me, to do that, and I can meet people, network, and stuff like that. And I shot with CC from KD. Thanks to my lady Cindy, she hooked that up. She pushed me to reach out to her.
Shout out to CC and Miss Lady.
And I've. Who else have I worked with that's prominent? I got to shoot with Too Short. I got to shoot with Fat Lip from the Far Side. Legends that I grew up listening to sometimes on the radio, and you're like, what the fuck? I'm right here standing next to fucking DJ Quick. Like, hell yeah, let's do this. Like, hey, can I get and I'm over here like fanning up with them, like little fanboy that I am. Like, ooh, shit. But it's cool, and that's why I say it's fun to do this. And now the goal is to eventually have my own solo show of all my artwork and my pictures up on a wall.
You've been part of plenty of shows.
I've done 3 shows. We're not gonna say plenty. I've done 3 shows.
That's a lie.
Well, I mean, they were cool shows, and To Live and Die in LA was one of them. It's a big show, of course. To be able to showcase your work there it's dope.
Yeah.
No matter what, because you're next to the Godfather himself, Esteban Oriel, and he's there, and this last show, I really got to know a different side of him. I got to see him, and he's talked to me about, life stuff and things like that. And it's just like, man, you don't expect those kind of conversations with these people, because you look at it like, do they even know my work? Does he even see my shit? You start thinking, and then you start talking with them, and you start realizing, like, they're just everyday people like yourself, and they probably got the same things. And I think he. When he just recently lost his jefita, he kind of was talking about it, and I was like, wow, okay, he's sharing that with me. Like, that's cool, that's dope.
Yeah.
And it was a conversation that we had over breakfast, and we're having breakfast, and I'm just like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, fuck, here I am with the fucking Godfather, with LA Deftones, and we're discussing To Live and Die in LA, and we were just on K-Day. They just did an interview on K-Day, and this is a radio station you grow up with. I mean, I grew up when it was on AM, 1580 AM. And he's like, here I am in the station that started, with Craig Mack, Julio G and shit like that. And you're like, wow. So I was like, okay. And then that makes you feel, again, your accomplishments. And I'm so used to accomplishing something, but I don't give myself enough credit like some people tell me. And sometimes I'm just like, for what?
But you have a lovely lady that gives you credit all the time now, and she's always like...
She does. She also gives me the love and support behind it, and she's always sacrificing her time because, like she says, she doesn't normally do things like this. She wasn't always going out in the calles like the way I'm in the calles and stuff like that. And I tell her, we don't have to do that. Like, you can stay home if you don't want to go.
But you guys make a really good team, because the last shoot that we did...
She got a lot of good behind the scenes, really, and I've been pushing her for that, because before she would just like stand there and she would probably take 1 or 2 pictures. I'm like, no, I need you to get video. I need to be able to show why I do what I'm doing or how I'm doing what I'm doing, so that people can see that. And I always post them on IG. Why? Because I think people want to see that stuff. I think. But then again, I don't know whether people want to see it, But it also helps, because if you take your name like a business, what I've learned is your name is a business.
Yeah.
So if you push your name as that business sense, well, people want to see your work. They want to see what you're capable of doing. And if you show them, then more likely they probably do it, right?
Yeah.
I've yet to get to the video part. I think I don't want to even try it. Like I do little video snips.
Like the videography.
No, that's not me. That's not me at all. I let the professionals take care of that. Like like Hertz Media. Rick the
Shout
Shooting.
out to Hertz Media.
like Daddy Deftones is doing a lot of videos now. Stevan. Yeah, Stevan's doing a lot of videos now. Those guys, that's what they're known for. Like WAP City and music videos, stuff like that. That's not me. I would love to be able to learn it, but I think the editing part. I don't want to mess somebody's video up or somebody's show up or something like that, because that's not me. I've said that to you before. We've had that conversation. It's like, it's not me. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. So it's like
this is where you guys should be taking the behind the scene pictures for us. Thank you.
So I again, why I've made the choice that I've made in my life to go where I've gone. It's one of those things where it's like, I've gone through so many problems throughout my life as growing up and obstacles that I've had to overcome.
Yeah.
Desde chiquito. Let's get this right. Desde chiquito. Those obstacles are always there. And it seems like I'm destined for something more, because obviously I'm still here. Thank God. Knock on wood. Or this one probably would. So we'll see what happens. And as of now, I'm willing to work with people that need that help to push them to do something different. I love doing that. I love taking a woman who feels like, no, I'm too fat, or no, I don't want to show my scars. No, let's create something dope with it. Let's do something with it.
Yeah.
And it's helping to empower a woman or a man at that point. Because you never know. Men probably struggle through the same problems as women sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to do things like that. Whether people want to accept it or not, that's on them now. But I've given my all to a lot of people. Excuse me, sorry. This is the hat. I'm kind of full.
Thanks for bringing us one.
I love doing with programs like Polly's Project or Project Coffee Cup. I love those organizations because I've seen those guys take the shirts, their jackets, their shoes off their own fucking feet and give it to people, and it's like,
You've shot for them.
I've shot for them, yeah.
So they go to downtown.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Polly's Project every Sunday, I think he goes, if I'm not mistaken. And then Jacob from Project Coffee Cup, he's constantly just in the move doing something. That guy stays busy just helping out. And I take, like, damn, here I am complaining about my life. De veras just complaining about my life when, look at these guys. These guys are doing, and they've got families, they've got their lives, and they still do what they do. And it's like, really?
It's a lot, though.
It is.
It takes a lot from you, like your time, the little bit of time that you have left, and then you're just investing it in that. So, people do need to realize that.
You'll always catch me roaming the streets. I will catch the train. I will catch the bus. I don't care. I'm still out there right on the walls, too. You'll catch me with spray paint for sure. They already know who I am, so I'm on the books, so I'm cool. But, at that point, I'm still creating art. I'm still loving it. And no matter what I've gone through, no matter how many times I've either lost somebody or lost a family member or a true friend, I always take that and I live forward, move forward with that, I'm proud to say I'm a grandfather now.
I was about to say that.
I got another one he'll be born on the 15th. My daughter
of this month.
Oh
my God.
Yeah, so I'll have a brand new. We
got to get that present ready because I was like, it's okay, I'll wait.
I'll have a brand new grandbaby. And
another boy.
Oh my. Another boy. I'm a girl dad. I had 2 daughters. Both of my daughters, had came out the closet that they were gay, and I had to learn about that. I had to learn what you can't say, what what you can ask, and a lot of people are like, oh, are you sure? And I'm traditional, old school Mexicano, but también, what can I say? You know what?
Yeah. Well, you have to accept.
They're my daughters.
Yeah.
I love them regardless. And they just end up like their dad. They love pussy. What's the big fucking deal? That's what I said. So it's I can crack that joke, but I say it with all due respect and honor. Is that I've, as a father, had to learn, because I wasn't 100% in their lives. That was another thing. I think that's why sometimes they were. It was hard for them to have to come out to me. And my oldest, more than anything.
Yeah.
My oldest, more than anything, She
came out first?
She came out first, and she did it on a letter. She did it on a letter because she wasn't sure how to tell me. But I thought we had the best relationship. But
did you know?
No, I just thought that she was real tomboyish because, she grew up with her mom in Jacksonville, Florida, more than anything.
Okay.
And I didn't I wasn't in her life every day. You know, I got to see her when she would come out to visit, or summertime, just like that, when I could have her or whatever. And I didn't know. I didn't know at all. That was a shock to me. It was a true fucking shock, to be honest with you. And, you know, I didn't know very many people that were gay. I didn't know people, I didn't have any close friends that were gay. I had primas that they were married one day, and next thing you know, they had kids and everything, and then they're no longer with their husband. They're gay, you know, and I was like, okay, how does that work? You know, like, they were confused the whole life, I guess, you know, and
they just wanted the baby. And
I don't know how that works. Again,
yeah, I don't either. Please
forgive me. Yeah,
don't come for me.
Yeah, don't come for me. Forgive me. So when my daughter came out, I was just like, I was hurt. I was more hurt that she didn't call me or talk to me. Oh. But it was in a letter.
Understood afterwards,
I think I was angry when I shouldn't have been angry. But I didn't judge her. I was just more upset that she did it on a letter. Yeah. That's what hurt me the most. And I cried. I remember I sit there and cried, and I'm just like, oh, why isn't a fucking letter? Like, why couldn't you just tell me? Yeah. We FaceTime constantly. We were always talking, and you can't just tell me that you're coming out? You know, so it was one of those situations. It's like that. And I'm just like, okay. It is what it is, you know? And I think I've learned a valuable lesson when it comes to people that have kids that are gay is don't pass judgment. Yeah. Don't expect them to be something they're not. Talk to them in reality. And the only thing I told my daughters was, you guys are gonna have to face life and deal with these difficult decisions, because people are gonna come at you. People that don't understand it, people that are quick to judge you without knowing you, close-minded, are gonna be the ones that are talking the most shit. So don't let that shit get to you. You got a motherfucker don't want to listen? Call me, I'll come take care of it for you. But you don't jump on that. Yeah. You keep being you. Don't let that steal away from who you truly are. So I said that with mad pride and mad love, you know, and that's why I respect them. That's why I respect the community when it comes down to that, and I give them their props. You know, they gotta go through some crazy shit. People. Oh yeah. People say things sometimes just without thinking. I'm one of those persons, so I probably have said some, you know, the wrong words here or there at the time, but I don't mean nothing behind it. I'm directing that one person that, you know, I don't want to say like that, but I told madre, I give it to them, you know, because they got to go through some crazy shit, and they got to live through that crazy shit, and that's hard. It really is hard. You know, goes the same thing with us, you know, siendo raza, you know, we were taught desde chiquitos, you ain't worth shit. Don't be a crybaby. Don't be this. All right, what do? You know, here I am crying right now. Like, what the fuck?
I think it's very important. I mean, we need to express how we feel, because if not, we grow up and it really fucks us up mentally, and then it starts showing in every other area of your life.
I think the biggest problem there is that we don't know that it's going to affect us till later on. Yeah. We don't realize until something really happens. When something really happens, that's when it starts to affect you. Start remembering, well, fuck, they told me I was a fucking chillon my whole fucking life. When here I am crying, you know, because something went down, truthfully, pero that's the truth. Yeah. And then you don't look at it like that. Instead, people are so close-minded. And I used to always say, weak-minded people are going to do weak-minded things. And I would say that because my mom was weak-minded. You know, she took whatever she went through traumatically in her life, and she allowed the drugs to control her life. Yeah. And I always said that, you know, I always prided myself because I wasn't weak-minded. I was strong-minded. I did this or I did that. I'm like, no, I was closed-minded because I wasn't opening my eyes to what I should have opened up my eyes to.
It happens. You know? We end up judging without realizing.
Exactly.
Because we don't know what they were going through.
Exactly. You know, and that's why I love to sit there and talk to people sometimes. I think that's why I love to roam the streets, because I remember when I had nothing. I still don't have anything, but I remember when I had nothing. You know, we were taught the less finer things in life. My grandma would take us to Exposition Park because the Science Museum was free, and we'd play, you know, baseball right there with her, and she would throw the ball to us because she was a big Dodger fan. Yeah. And then we'd go in the museum afterwards.
Are you a Dodger fan?
I'm a big Dodger fan. Oh yeah. So, and we would go to the museum afterwards, and we'd roam around the museum. You know, it was free, and we just run around, and then that was our weekends. That was my grandma. My grandma did all that for us. And then we'd have like be all happy because we got a McDonald's Happy Meal. You know, she didn't have a lot of money. She wasn't getting a lot of money. She was getting food stamps for me and my brother. And me and my brother are two totally different people. You know, two different dads. He grew up with the everybody owes me something because I came out fucked up in this world type attitude, when he never really wanted to work for anything the right way. You know, and it was one of those things where it was like I would try to teach him that, but he was just so terco that he didn't want to hear me. You ain't shit, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. All right. To this day, I mean, still have that same attitude. And it's like, he's lost, and then it comes down, when he really needs something, he's crying because no one's there to help his ass. Well, you make that choice. That's you know, either pick yourself up, because no one really is going to pick you up.
Yeah.
People always have that notion that someone's going to be there for you, they're going to help you, or they're going to try to talk you off the ledge. They want to see you jump. They want to see you jump. Yeah. That's the truth. People want to see you fall. People are waiting for you to fall.
It's fucked up, huh?
But when you fall and you pick yourself up, how much of a big, like, attaboy do you give yourself all the time? You know, I think I've done that a lot for myself in my life. Every time I've fallen, every time I've gone through a fucked up relationship, or I put myself in those fucked up relationships, I come out with nothing, and I still, look at me, I'm still winning, because I'm still here, I'm still walking around proud. People know who I am. People, if you know me, you know that I am not the first one to jump. I'm the last one, because I'm sitting in the corner waiting, because I'm going to make sure it gets finished the right way. Fuck all the bullshit. Fuck all that little, no. I'll talk shit from the corner in the back, but as soon as you see me move, you better watch out, because I'm coming running. You know, and I'm unstoppable when it comes to that. And that I will say, I've lived my life never fucking talking shit, knowing that I can back it up, because I'm first-hand knowledge of what goes down when shit will be fucked up, and you're gonna get caught slipping in the streets, because you are touchable. Anybody's touchable. No one is fucking untouchable. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the way it's always been, and that's the way it's always gonna go, and that's the truth. Got stuck with that one. Huh?
Yeah. I was just fucking. I was thinking as you were talking about it. Anything else that you want to share?
You know, I love what people are doing out there. I love that people are trying to make it about raza. I love that people are trying to like help stand up for the vendors and things like that. But if you're doing it, don't do it for fame. If you're doing it, do it for the love of your people. Do it for the love of yourself. Don't expect to be a overnight celebrity because you helped save somebody, or you're trying to link up with somebody. I'm gonna say this, and I say it bluntly, and I always say it. Raza, supporting raza means you're truly being raza. You're not caring about what that person has, doesn't have. You're not doing it for the fame of it. You're not doing it for the fortune of it. You're doing it because you want to do it. Because you're tired of seeing our people stuck on the bottom. Unfortunately, the problem is that our people will stand on top of someone else to get to the top.
That's very true. And
it's sad. So if you're that person, sucks to say that, but don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it for that reason. Do it because you really genuinely want to help somebody. You're not looking to try to capture some fame somewhere, or you're trying to get some likes on Instagram. Instagram ain't gonna take you nowhere. It really isn't.
It's not. And you know how they say Instagram's not gonna pay you. I get it. Some people are getting paid, but in all reality, what's gonna happen when it crashes? Nothing. I wanted to ask you something.
Go ahead.
Is there some advice that you can give, especially to the men out there? Because, you know, there's a lot of men like yourself that have kept everything inside, and it does come out. I don't know about you, but in general, it comes out sometimes.
I still fall heavily under depression. I am prone for depression. I still fall in my own funks, but I'm now learning talking about it is an escape. It's a way to get help.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that you put me on the show, and I know that we had talked about what we were going to talk about before, and you wanted me to touch on these subjects, and I was thinking in the back of my head, like, do I really want to fucking do this? Because it's going to make me cry here and there. But I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be transparent.
Yeah.
If you need help, reach out. There are groups. There are people. There are numbers you can call. You know, it's easier said than done. Pick up the phone before you pick up a bottle. Pick up the phone before you pick up that straw to fucking hit the line. Pick up the fucking phone before you grab that fucking cuete to try to put it to the dome of your head. Oof. I've been in those situations. I've been there. I've had that gun to my fucking dome many a fucking times. Yeah. Or I just wanted to escape life in general.
Yeah.
Don't do it. It's not worth it. That's the easy way out. The easy way is going and getting fucking drunk. The easy way is going and get high. I know this 'cause I'm still prone to doing that from time to time. I'm not going to lie.
But you're human.
You know, I'm going to make those mistakes. I'm going to crack down. But I learned that support of a woman behind you who truly loves you is going to stand there behind you and not give you shit, but let you make that mistake and then be there to catch you. That's support.
Yeah.
So don't be that person. Reach out and help. Get that help you need. Get my number. Do you see me in the streets? Hit me up. I'll call you. You can call me all day long. My phone number stays the same. It's been the same for fucking God knows how long. You know?
Hey, I wanted to ask you, are you ever going to do something like a mentor program for...
I don't see that yet. I think I still got a lot to learn.
Okay.
I truly got a lot to learn. I'm not there in a place where I want to be there yet. I wish I could say that I want to do something like that, but not yet.
Any new shows coming up? Anything that you can talk about?
I don't have
Give us a
anything.
scoop.
No, I don't have anything. I think lately I've been pushing more to. I've created my own little live on Instagram. I'm using that platform to talk with known photographers. I've already had 2 known photographers like Paolo Frio Lopez and Los Angeles Deftones on there, and Kiwana Photography was to let people know what photographers really go through. I think that's missing because a lot of people want to think it's a trend. It's not a trend.
Yeah.
It's a serious business out there, and a lot of people who really do it for business purposes are doing it because that's their livelihood. And you can't just come in thinking that you can take a picture and okay, now you're famous. I think they're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Is what I want to say. And don't take it the wrong way, but you've got to do it for the love of what you're doing it.
A lot of photographers, up and coming photographers, they'll do something and then they feel like, fuck, my picture didn't get enough likes. I'm giving up. That's when you should push it the most, because I guarantee you that the ones that are not liking your picture are still watching and are still being like, because there's a lot of people just sitting back judging, like, let's see how long it's gonna take this person to.
I was that person. I was that person. I would be like, man, how come no one likes my shit? How come, I thought I was a good shot, Yeah, but I realized that my photography is not for everybody. Someone said that to me one time, and I said, you're right. You're fucking right. And that's why I say, when I shoot, my style is completely crazy. It's unorthodox. It's out of professionalism. We do crazy. You got lying on floor, stopping traffic, jumping on some rooftops if we can, or having you climb a fence or something. I wall out, but it's because that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
It wasn't for everybody, so I learned that. And I rule number 1. I always say it. I always preach it. I live by it. Fuck what they say.
There you go. Would you mind sharing your platforms with us?
Same thing across the board. Rene _ Poet King _ Rodriguez. What I have? I've got Instagram, Twitter. Don't follow me on TikTok because I just follow TikTok for the funny videos and the audit videos. I love watching those videos because they make me laugh. Or when when you're doing your private business in the restroom, it's just kind of something to do, pass time. But if you follow me, cool. If not, don't worry about it because like I said, I go on there just for the videos. The videos are funny on TikTok. I just that's the only reason why. And I have my website, which is Rene _ Poet King _ Rodriguez. The link is on my Instagram. I use Instagram more than anything, but I'll post a picture here and there. I've got a lot of work that I've yet to show because I'm hoping one day, fingers crossed, someone's gonna pop out the woodworks and say I'm gonna give you that solo show, or I'll invest in you. So you're
waiting to have it on your own.
I have a lot of work that I have out there that I want to show to the world, and I'm trying to find my way, but it's hard. You can't do it all on your own. It's expensive. So I'm learning, trying to figure it out.
It'll happen. Rene, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. No, gracias. Appreciate you. Thank you.
You let me know when you're ready for that shoot. This was Making Changes.
Most definitely.